Hello and welcome to today's podcast. This is going to be a short podcast, just an introduction to the channel. So, welcome to Neon Podcasting, your place to find short story readings, audio blogs, and so much more. I'm your host, Neon Kliss, and let's get this party started. So, I'm going to go on with little tags that I did in my notes, and let's see how this goes. So, a little bit about me. I'm a writer, a hobbyist, an artist, a musician, a photographer. I'm a lot of different things. I like to learn, I like to try different things. That's just a little bit about me. I started out in the screenwriting industry, writing short stories for independent films. Short screenplays for independent films. Then I kind of got a little burnt out there and made a transfer over to the wonderful world of novel writing. But now I'm doing a little bit of both, and I'm also back in school going for my master's. Woohoo me. And in something completely different, like I said, I like to try different things. So that's a little bit about me. So why am I doing this? Why am I starting this podcast? Why am I trying this new thing? There's a few reasons, and I'm going to talk about a few reasons why I brought it up. So why am I doing this? There's a lot of reasons, mainly two driving reasons that I can think of off the top of my head. Reason number one, I listen to a lot of podcasts while I'm in the car, driving, or just sitting around. I travel a lot now while I'm in school, so podcasts have kind of been there for me. So I thought maybe I should start one and give it a try. Who knows? So I started trying to narrow down the ideas, what I could do in the podcast. I can do a lot of different things and talk about a lot of random stuff. But I sat down, did the whole writing process, just kind of thought everything out. I wrote everything out, rather. That's why I mentioned writing process there. So, since writing is my favorite thing to do, I thought, why not make a podcast about writing? Talk about subjects, stuff that I like to focus on, and bring in different little things just to spice up a podcast. Another reason that I fell under an old enemy's spell. Writer's block has struck again. It's a burden all writers face, and recently I've become its muse. In the past, short stories have saved my life, or rather saved my rear end, as it were. They're short, you don't have to worry about page length, you don't have to worry about word count, it's just a short story. So it kind of allows you to just be free about what you're writing and not worry about the elongated plot or, if your characters are developing enough. The whole writer's problems. So I wrote that down and decided, yeah, that's what I could do in my podcast. I can write short stories and read them. The reason I'm going to be reading them is because right now I'm in school, working and all that. I do not have the time to start marketing all this, and I don't want these short stories to just sit around in my computer for ages. Nothing to do with them, just kind of forget about them. So I thought, why not do this? Why not do this? I have allergies, so pardon my lackluster pronunciation of words right now. So yeah, that's what the whole reading portion of this podcast is going to be, is me. I'm going to be writing a story on the fly, reading it out as best I could. I'm not a voice actor by any means, so don't expect anything great, but it might be interesting. So this might be entertaining, this might not. It's just trying to balance out life and trying different things and, try and entertain people, try and maybe help some people that are having writer's block. Short stories are a great way to get out of writer's block. I know you think writer's block, you can't write anything, but no, you usually, I can't say you always, because some people have it a lot worse than I have it. There's days where I sit at my desk trying to write something, trying to finish my book, and nothing comes to mind, and what does come to mind is absolute garbage. But like I said in the past, I've done short stories. They've saved me. They kind of pulled me out because I had no expectation of words. I had no problems of where the story's going to go, Short stories are just short stories, Some of them could be interesting, some of them could be absolute crap. And I'll state since now, I apologize for the crappy ones that if they do come. If this does develop into something and I continue to write, there are going to be some that are not going to be that great. But bear with me. As this gets going, and if anybody does like it, I will get better at all this. I know it's a little awkward. I'm sounding a little awkward because I'm not used to talking into a microphone and knowing that people are going to listen to this. I'm kind of a hermit, as they say. I hike, I fish, I sit at my room and work in stories. I work on homework. I drive here and there, but there's hardly enough time to do anything else other than drive. I'm not used to talking to people is what I'm trying to get at. I'm not used to talking and expecting people to listen to me. But that's why I want to change this. I want to get out there and try something new. Just try something. That's where I'm at. And if you do hear a lot of so's, that's my kind of like my ums. Like some people have I have so. So for the schedule, it's a rough schedule. This is nothing going to be permanent right now because I'm in school and with midterms. Just got done midterms. That's why there hasn't been much posted on the channel. I've been doing channel art, just trying to deal with the design right now. So yeah, that's where I'm at. So for the schedule, it's going to be a really loose schedule right now. Being that I'm in school, there's going to be a lot of fluctuations in time that I have available to put to this and time that I don't have available. For right now, reading episodes will be done bi-monthly, so there should be 2 episodes a month. No promises, but there should be 2 episodes a month of me reading from a short story. The short stories will continue on from several episodes until they finish. So the next item on the list is audio blogs. So that's where you get updates on how the story is going, personal thoughts, just me talking, nothing scripted. This is a little scripted because I wanted to talk about everything and cover everything without it's being completely random and me going on and on about stuff, which I already am. But anyway, I will get better at this, like I said. As the channel goes on, I will improve. My talking into a microphone will be a lot better. So anyway, the audio blogs are going to be sporadic. There's no schedule attached to them. As I start thinking about things, then I'll post more for audio blogs. So the last thing is going to be about myths and more. It's going to be a side podcast to this. It's going to be on the same channel. And it's just going to cover local legends that I've come across in northern New Mexico, where I kind of cover stories that I've heard, myths and legends from northern New Mexico, and just kind of cover that. Not a lot of people know about it. If they do, it's not really covered well enough, I think. I like listening to the podcast, so I haven't run into any podcasts that specifically cover northern New Mexico folklore. And I will throw in some other folklore from other places that I visited. But that's going to be about 1 episode a month, and that's not going to be late March, early April. That's early April 2017. Early April 2017, late March 2017. I will explain a little bit more about this later on in this podcast, in this introduction. So I'm going to cut it off there and continue on before I ramble on about random stuff and get everybody bored. Also, I'm going to go into the once agains and all that. So once again, I'm not a voice actor, so don't expect anything great to come from this. This is not going to be an audiobook. This is going to be me reading from my story and trying my best to make it interesting. So the stories are going to be written loosely and on the fly. There could be a little bit of editing, but not much. And how the story turns out is going to be really up to fate. I'm just going to continue writing from where I stopped. And yeah, just let things develop. I'm going to try and keep the story linear in design, but all the stories are going to be written on the fly, like I said. So I have no idea how the story is going to turn out, what the ending is going to be like. I have an idea. I'm going to write it and continue to write on that idea and focus until the end. The stories will span across many episodes, and I think each story, depending on the length, will be a season if this turns out to be worth listening to. So, yeah, I'll try and keep episodes between 10 to 20 minutes. A couple might be shorter, a couple might be longer. That's all depending on time that I have, student, all that jazz. The first episode might be a little embellished and, prettied up. So there's going to be a little background sounds. That's just to intrigue people. I'm not going to be able to keep that throughout every reading. I would like to. I'm going to add a little bit into each one, but I'm not going to go as embellished as the first. And I do apologize if I'm confusing anybody in this. I'm going to try and keep this as short as possible and try and cover everything that I need to cover or think that I need to cover. Eventually, I would like to turn this into an authentic podcast where I can upload to iTunes and all that and, make this an actual podcast where people can listen to on the road or whatnot. But for right now, everything's going to be mainly held on YouTube. That's why I've been referencing this as a channel, because it is a YouTube channel. I will be posting updates and blogs on Twitter and Tumblr. And I will have a free WordPress website. Eventually, I'll go to paid. But for right now, I want to see if anybody has any interest in this. As this grows, I will improve on that. I will improve on speaking. I'll get better, is what I'm trying to say. But for right now, everything's going to be on YouTube. See if anybody has any interest in what I'm doing. See if this is actually worth carrying on. I will try and make this as entertaining as possible and try and make this a quality podcast the best I can with the equipment that I have, and I will improve as time goes on. Is basically what I'm trying to say. So for background noise, there is going to be background noise in all these audio blogs. I'm hoping to cut out most of it, especially on the readings. But I live near an interstate, so there's motorcycles and truckers and lots of noise. I've soundproofed my room as the best I can. I'm going to cover a little bit on like I mentioned before, the myths and more. So that's what this is going to be about. And the reason I'm including this in this channel is because myths and legends have always inspired me for my writing, and local folklore is it has some interesting turns, and I just want to see how that goes too, and just put it in there, just kind of change things up. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and a lot of them follow one specific linear line, and that's great. But I want to spice mine up and have a little bit of different topics along the way. This is going to be it's going to appear in a separate playlist on the YouTube channel, so if people want to listen to it, they can. If they don't have to. It's just there if people want to listen to it. And the reason I'm doing this is because I don't like pigeonholing myself in places where I'm just a writer for this, or I'm just into writing horror stories. I'm just into writing science fiction. I like covering a lot of things. I don't know what else to say about that. I just like to improve and change and do something new every once in a while, and it's fun. That's all I can say about that. So for the folklore more, it might have some guest speakers if I see some interest in it. I do have some people that I know of that delve a lot more into the folklore legends than I do. I like to listen to them. I like to hear them. I like to research them. I like to put some logic to it. I'm one of those that are. Have you ever seen that sign? I'm sure everybody's seen that sign. I want to believe. That's basically me. I want to believe because it's fun. But logically, I can't say I believe. But I like hearing stories about it. So for that one, if people want to chat over whatever and chat over Skype or chat over Google Hangouts about stories that they know of, like unheard legends, unheard folklore, I love that kind of stuff. So if that gets some views, I will like to continue that. Because I love folklore and I love myths and I love legends. It's an interest of mine. Like I said, I have allergies right now, so my pronunciation of a lot of things, it's just spring, allergies, the whole problems. Human body, got to deal with it. So again, I'll say that the first episode of Folklore and More probably will be in April, possibly late March, but that's really pushing it, and I'm not going to say it's going to be late March. It will be April. The first episode will appear in April. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I just thought I'd do an introduction to the channel, cover what this is going to be about, you know, tell a little bit about the schedule, introduce myths and more, introduce the readings. I'm going to do another short audio blog, but right before the reading of the episode of the first reading, which will give the title of the reading and the first reading, and just to introduce that. But for right now, I just want to introduce the channel and leave that separate so I can cover just that on its own. So the reading will have its own, contained, wrapped up small audio blog for that. So yeah, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I didn't do a disservice by this. I just really wanted to introduce the channel, kind of describe what it's going to be about. It will change. It will get better. Things will be added. More content will be posted. Right now, not a lot of content has been posted on either my Twitter, Facebook, WordPress, YouTube. A lot of it's just been right now designed, and it will probably be designed for the next couple days. And I will have the first reading out, hopefully, by the end of this week. I can't promise it. I'm working on it. Currently doing the audio for it, the background noises, not noises, background sounds. It's currently in the process of being made, is what I'm trying to get at right now. And until that all comes together, which it should, getting there, I will post it. It'll be up there on Twitter. The video will be posted on YouTube, but the link will be on Twitter. It will be on my WordPress. It will be also on Facebook and all the other social platforms that I have a account with. So yeah, the accounts are they're all Neon Podcasts. I will have the list of sites on my Tumblr and on my Twitter. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, you'll get updates through there. You'll get the links to the videos, links to download audio. I'm doing that through Dropbox, so you will get access to downloading the episodes if you want to put it on your iPad or iPod, however you want to do it. So if you do like what you're hearing, subscribe to YouTube and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and I'll start posting more things on there. But right now it's all design. It's kind of trying to figure out where it is, what I should be putting on there, just kind of gathering my thoughts around it. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.